This is from AFP, the French press agency. Chinese bombers likely training for U.S. strikes, according to the Pentagon. Nobody is focused on what China is doing more than I. Whether it's on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Fox, Levin TV on CRTV, or behind this microphone on Westwood One. Chinese bombers are likely training for strikes against American and allied targets in the Pacific, according to a new Pentagon report that also details how Beijing is transforming its ground forces to fight and win. The annual report to Congress released today highlights China's growing military, economic, and diplomatic clout, and how Beijing is leveraging this to rapidly build its international footprint and establish regional dominance. In the case of China's air, by the way, was this covered on CNN or anywhere else, on MSNBC? John Brennan and his security, he can shove his damn security clearance. How about they focus on real news? The annual report to Congress released today highlights China's growing military, economic, and diplomatic clout, and how Beijing is leveraging this to rapidly build its international footprint and establish regional dominance. In the case of China's air power, the report states that Chinese bombers are developing capabilities to hit targets as far from China as possible. Over the last 3 years, the People's Liberation Army, the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, has rapidly expanded its overwater bomber operating areas, gaining experience in critical maritime regions and likely training for strikes against U.S. and allied targets, the document states, noting how China is pushing its operations out into the Pacific. In August 2017, that's a year ago, 6 Chinese H-6K bombers flew through the Myoko Strait in the southwest of the Japanese islands, and then for the first time turned north to fly east of Okinawa, where 47,000 U.S. troops are based. The PLA may demonstrate the capability to strike U.S. and allied forces and military bases in the western Pacific Ocean, including Guam, which is an American territory. Those are American citizens. And my great-uncle fought there during World War II. The report says, largest ground force, China is engaged in a decades-long buildup and modernization of its once backward armed forces, and military leaders have set a goal of filling a world-class military by 2050. President Xi Jinping last year ordered the PLA to step up efforts, saying China needed a military ready to fight and win wars. The call has alarmed China's neighbors, several of whom are embroiled in tense border disputes with the superpower. See, now China's a superpower. Wasn't a superpower 5 years ago. According to the Pentagon, the PLA in April 2017 undertook a massive transformation of operational and tactical units as part of its structural reforms. With nearly 1 million troops, the PLA is the largest standing ground force in the world. The report notes that the purpose of these reforms is to create a more mobile, modular, lethal ground force capable of being the core of joint operations and able to meet Xi Jinping's directive to fight and win wars. China's military budget for 2017 was about $190 billion, according to the report, far behind the Pentagon's annual budget of about $700 billion. Now, that is an absurd comparison. Their soldiers are conscripts. They're not volunteers for the most part. They pay them nothing. They pay their families nothing. They have minimal health care. But I'll go on. When the Pentagon released its annual report last year, Beijing dismissed it as irresponsible in predicting that China would expand its global military presence by building overseas bases in countries like Pakistan. This year's report reiterates that China will seek to establish new bases in countries such as Pakistan. Key to this expanding footprint is China's Belt and Road Initiative that seeks to bolster ties with other nations through lending and infrastructure deals. The document also shines a light on China's ongoing military preparations for a contingency in the Taiwan Strait. You know what that means? They intend to invade Taiwan. Officially, China advocates for a peaceful reunification with Taiwan, but it has never repudiated the use of military force, the document notes. The PLA also is likely preparing for a contingency to unify Taiwan with China by force, while simultaneously deterring, delaying, and denying any third-party intervention on Taiwan's behalf, it states. And should the United States intervene, China would try to delay effective intervention and seek victory in a high-intensity, limited war of short duration. In other words, quick and hard. Everything they have, fast. To the ire of regional neighbors, China has built a series of islets, as you know, and ocean features in the military facilities in the South China Sea. Beijing has now stopped substantial land reclamation. It doesn't have to. It's built the bases. However, it continued to build infrastructure at these outposts, the report says. CNN reporting on this? MSNBC reporting on this? Anybody really covering this on a regular basis? You know what this is? World War III. World War III. One day. And I want to remember what I'm saying. Our media focused on Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels' lawyer. Omarosa. The pulled security clearance from the miscreant, Brennan. Focused on trying to take down a commander-in-chief who knows about this, who's put men around him and women around him who are concerned about this, Pompeo, Bolton, Nikki Haley, Mattis, and trying to distract him and burden him and make his job impossible. This clown over there at the Washington Post is exactly what I mean when I say that Mueller has done more damage and will do more damage to our republic and our Constitution than Russia. That's exactly what Abraham Lincoln meant, Thomas Jefferson meant, Joseph Story meant, and so many more. That if we are to be defeated, we will be defeated from within. And the propaganda wing of those who will defeat us will be the Washington Post, among others. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
All right. Let's go to, there was one here. Paul, San Antonio, Texas, Sirius Satellite. Go.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Just wanted to, thanks for taking my call. Great show on Sunday. I found it hard to believe that Dr. Pillsbury said that they didn't know anything about China or didn't realize that they were trying to take us over militarily because back in the late 90s when I was in school, I went to military school and we were learning that...
No, let's slow down a second. They knew that. They just had a different approach, a different doctrine. They were trying to engage them, trying to get them hooked onto capitalism and things of that sort. And then they realized it was a terrible mistake. All right, go ahead.
And the things they said, we had a Chinese teacher that taught us that China was trying to take us over militarily, that they had a plan to build, they had plans for the aircraft carrier starting then that would be ready in 10 to 15 years. And lo and behold, they have an aircraft carrier too now. So that was interesting what he said, that they weren't really... It seemed to me that he said that they weren't concerned as much with China. And then
you ought to read his book because, as I say, he lays it out. But they were trying détente. They were trying to engage with China. They started it with Nixon and so forth and so on. Anyway, what else do you have?
That's pretty much it. I thought it was pretty interesting, though.
All right, buddy. Appreciate your call. Thank you.